Today, I want to share with you a really special interview that I did with Tisha, who is an eighth grade teacher in West Virginia. And she is going to share with you how she came upon structured writing workshops and how she implements it in her classroom. And she is phenomenal. She did all this in 1 year. And there are some things that she talks about that I want you to note. I actually had to write this down because she gave so many gems of things that takeaways that you could do in your class. She's going to tell you how she uses physical notebooks versus the digital writing of the workshop. Very brilliant use of the notebooks versus the digital. I love it. She has leader folders, and she's going to show you those and how she uses them to help her leaders. She's going to tell you how she incorporates AI into the writing program and its genius. And she's going to tell you a little bit about her reaction from her eighth graders and how this writing program changed them. I love this conversation, and I'm so excited that you'll get to hear this from her. So let's listen to Tisha.
Tisha Skinner, and I teach eighth grade language arts at Williamstown Middle School. The middle school and the high school are combined, so we have kind of a different structure here. I get to kind of watch all my kids develop and go through high school, and they come
Oh.
back and ask questions. So I've figured out like what their problems are when they come back and they start asking for more. I'm like, okay, we need to hit this a little heavier. And writing was one of those things that I had figured out I really need to up my game. I understood writing and I understood that they needed it in chunks and sections and they needed certain skills, but I didn't really know how to put it all together. So I went for last summer, I started just patrolling TikTok and looking for strategies and like, oh my gosh, what are other people using? I need something structured.
Mm.
And that's how I came upon you and the structured writing teacher. I'm like, I need structured writing. So I
Hmm.
came upon you with that. And then Josie Wozniak
Yep.
had also told me about you and your program and said you really need to check that out. And I admire her. I think she's an amazing teacher.
Totally.
And so I took her advice.
Mm, what a cool combination. And that was cool to talk to her. I hope I have her on here. Hi, Josie, if you're listening. About combining workshop the way that you, and I think you did too, with Edu protocols as well, right?
Yeah, because I
Mhm.
totally took on the Edge of Protocols mindset. And I started working your program and doing it like how you had suggested. And after I got comfortable with it, I started adding Edge of Protocol into the workshops. So I
Mm-hmm.
combined them all.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I love that it's the idea is that you have repeatable like frames in a way of things
Yeah.
that you have the
Rinse
students
and
do,
repeat.
rinse and repeat, right? And the
Yeah. And the
that
one that I used the most with your writing program was the 3 times genre Edge Protocol, which allowed my students to use a single image, a single video, a single excerpt to write in the 3 different genres on the same topic. So what
yeah.
I loved about it is they were getting the practice for 3 types of writing with
Mm-hmm.
and not just one.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Let's talk about that. You have eighth grade. Did you have like multiple classes? Do you have short classes? How much time?
I do. I had 4 eighth grade
Wow.
English classes, and then I have one seventh grade reading class. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to picture like how that would work then. So did you have like an hour with each of them
I
or?
had about 47 minutes is what
Oh,
I
God.
I know. And it was tough to get the workshop in the 47 minutes. It was like, everybody get in here, workshop starting. So I had to do a little restructuring and I kept my leaders for a little bit longer so that they
Mhm.
learned the roles. At first, they did love the roles. They loved being in charge.
Wow.
So what I did with your workshop is I created like folders and I did a captain folder
Oof.
and I had line length goal folders and the trio folders and I laid them up there for them to work with. I also had a tray of the dare cards that they could pass out. Like I thought they're going to be the teachers, so I needed to kind of set up their area the way I would need some
Oh,
direction.
I
So
love
I laid
that.
your little directions on their desk so that they could see like, oh, what am I supposed to be doing if they forgot what their role was. And then I also laid your how to
Oh,
how to do the, I don't know if you could see it,
yeah. It's kind of
the
in and out.
time blocks. It tells me like you're going to need 5 minutes for the warm up, about 5 minutes to discuss the short answers, 7 to 15 minutes to write nonstop. So they knew like how long they should be spending.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had a couple scripts up there for the leaders, and I
Right.
highlighted exactly what they were supposed to be saying. Anything that I needed to specify, I put it in like parentheses for them, and they just flipped and did it, and it seemed to get better and better every session.
Wow, that's fantastic. The organization of that. That's what I love doing this with having so many teachers kind of come together in the Facebook group. If everybody's like adding in what they're doing and it's just really elevating the whole thing. It's so cool. And one thing I
I tried to
noticed,
set
okay.
everything up like you said.
Hmm.
Um, I created the diamond writer wall. I bought a diamond off of Amazon, one of
Ah!
the great big diamonds to sit on their desk. I got a tray full of diamonds for their notebooks. And I mean, all
Oh.
kinds of different colors. And at the end of the year, it was so sweet when I was passing back their books. They were like, see, I got 2 diamonds this year. You didn't get a diamond. So they were real proud of their diamonds.
Competitive about it. That's awesome. I love it. And you had sent me a video at one point, which I just adored, of the kids working like mad. And one thing I noticed, I wanted to kind of dive into this. They were typing at their computer, but alongside them, they have a composition notebook.
Hmm.
So what's the difference between using the computer and putting stuff in a notebook?
Well, I have different things in there like transition word lists I put in the
Mm.
composition book so that they can refer back to that. When we're doing your skills workshop, I also make them put their activities, all of their stuff in that notebook. So
Handwritten.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
handwritten. That way they can refer back to it and it's in order, it's organized. All the skills that we work on are all in order. It seemed to be a good reference guide for them.
That's super cool. This is something I want everybody to hear. There's so many questions about, do I do a physical notebook? Do I do it digitally? And you're saying all the notes and like all their resources and like this is my toolbox. Like
And they have their line length goal sheet that was in there too.
nice. So like, okay, I got my stuff I need. And then they all pretty much typed it out. They were all digital with their writing.
Yeah,
And then what
usually
did,
the class kick slides, and
yeah.
I use those. So I actually, before I met with you, I sat down and I went back through and looked at the first writing session and I compared it to the last one, and man, they were
Right?
impressive. I mean, we started with like little itty bitty paragraphs with no dialogue, no emotional response, and we ended up with like them writing off the page. So with
Wow.
lots of quotations and dialogue, lots of emotional response, which I've really not had those kind of rewards in the past. Like I haven't seen that much growth in my kids' writing.
Mm-hmm. What about like how did they feel about it? I know you sent me some of their work for some of them, which was
Oh,
phenomenal.
well, they're very proud of their writing. I even had a parent at the end of the year that had posted something on Facebook about how her kids did better on the end of grade test, and that he had great teachers, and
Hmm.
I wanted to say like they learned all this from this amazing writing teacher.
Oh,
They did. You gave them such wonderful strategies, and they were very pleased with their writing, and they made it vocal to tell me, "Hey, I know I did way better on writing than I've ever done."
wow. Wow. I love your kids. When you did the diamond wall, which I did not realize until another teacher pointed it out in the video, they're like, look at her wall. And it was in the background. And I didn't even see it. But what did you do with that wall? What goes up there and
I
how?
let them sign their signature on, well, I had a kid who was really artsy draw like a 3D diamond on black paper. I think I had seen Josie did something like that. Like she had black paper in the background and she
Mm-hmm.
had something on maybe like a paper towel roll and she pulled it down and the kids were writing like a line or something from her writing. And
Cool.
I pretty much stole that idea, I think maybe from Josie, but I
Mhm.
adapted it and did it my way. And I just made it a bulletin board where they signed their name, and they got to be one of the honored diamond writers.
Oh, so whenever they got a diamond, go sign the wall.
Yeah, you got to sign the wall.
Wow,
And
that's a
it stayed up all
cool.
year. And the little boy who drew it, he goes, can I have that at the end of the year? And so he took it home.
Oh, what are you gonna do next year? You're gonna have to get him to where you'll have him.
I'm gonna have to get him from ninth grade. At least they're in the same building.
Right, right. Come on back for the next 4 years, buddy. That is awesome. And then,
That first assignment, I can say, probably was like the hook, line, and sinker for me. And
mm,
I've heard other people, and even you talk about how awesome that first assignment is, that voice assignment with the object in the room. And
um,
I didn't really know how well it was going to go. I have eighth graders, so I thought that might be kind of, I don't know if they're going to get into
it
that.
is right.
Man, did they get into it?
Wow. I know it's kind of it is like a little unicorn of an activity that I kind
It
of
really
stumbled
is.
upon. And I maybe it's because it works with eighth graders because it's not just, write a diary entry of your pencil. It's like find the weirdest thing you can possibly find in this room that nobody is looking at. And like that, it just turns it into this weird little thing that they
Yeah.
write. They come out so
Yeah.
cool.
And it didn't take long before we were through with voice, which I think voice took us maybe 3 weeks. Before we were done with voice, I was seeing improvements in the writing
Mhm.
already.
Right.
Stuff that no amount of direct instruction from me was really going to make those changes.
Ah,
I
wow.
feel like a combination of how you did the working slides where they literally watch it, they see me give the examples, then they do it, and then you give them like that scaffolding of now you got to do a little bit more on your own. Um,
Mhm.
that was the game changer for them, like internalizing what you said and the skill that you were teaching. Now we get to practice it. Now create your own. And it wasn't like, I'm going to tell you the skill. Let's do
Mhm.
it together. And then they just automatically started putting it in their writing.
Right, right. And it's one of those skills that they actually can do much easier than adults can do.
It was impressive for sure.
They know how to get attitude. You tell them get a little attitude, they're like, okay, not
Yeah.
a problem. I love that. Tell me about the shift into essay writing. Did you see some of the effects of workshop and skill-based stuff? Did it help with the essays?
Oh, it definitely did. After we finished the GSA, I did a lot of just little random interviewing and like,
Mm,
what do you feel like we did the most that really helped you? And I would say out of like 10 kids, I definitely got an overwhelming out of 8 of them probably mentioned workshop. Workshop, workshop, workshop. It was workshop. You got to do more workshop, they said. Because I mean, I didn't start it. I don't remember when I started, but wasn't right eventually at the or automatically at the beginning of the year. It was like I think I found you and then I had to teach
very helpful.
myself and
Mm-hmm.
and then I got them into it. So I've actually shared your workshop layout with the seventh grade teacher and the 11th grade teacher here in this building.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping they're going to do some research and work on it this summer because it
That would be phenomenal. Could you imagine if you had kids who started in fourth grade with these skills and then they kept doing it and then they got to you in eighth grade, like where you could take them?
I know. Let's I even think like, okay, if I can get the sixth grade teacher on board and the seventh grade teacher, then we're really building something.
Mm-hmm. Phenomenal. What did you do? At one point you mentioned using AI like class companion.
Yeah.
How did that work? I have not used that before.
Okay, well, I absolutely love Class Companion, and I ended
Okay.
up working quite a few of my edu protocols through Class Companion as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you can set a link and create a rubric on Class Companion that you can feed whatever you are writing on the content. So, like, let's say they're writing on, I'm just going to throw out like um, Cleopatra,
Mm-hmm.
and you can put an excerpt of what the kids are going to read or some like background on Cleopatra in there, um, and you link that rubric to the writing assignment that they're doing, and then they can just fill it in and write. And it's kind of like a search engine where they type it and then they submit. And after they submit, it scores them on different components of writing, like spelling, organization, having a good intro, a thesis, hooks, and it tells them, well, maybe you didn't clarify your topic well enough here. You need to go back and it'll give them a suggestion, and they can do it as many times as you, the teacher, set it for, up to like 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
For workshop, I would give it like a generic, I want it to write, depending on what we were going to do with workshop, create a multi-paragraph or on a certain topic that maybe I had already predetermined,
Mm-hmm.
or made it generic enough that they could type and it was just the skills that the AI was evaluating the kids on. And so it gave them suggestions and they had to work till they got like an 8 out of 8 or a 15 out of 15 uh,
Wow.
on finishing it. And it was really helpful as far as giving them all in their individualized feedback that I
Yes.
could get. And if they got frustrated, because of course it's not perfect all the time, and it was to them, I don't understand this, they would come up and
Mm.
there's a teacher box that you can also override the score if you feel like they had already done it correctly and it just didn't quite
Oh,
grasp.
okay. Right. That's what I was wondering too. Did you create the rubric or did you just say I want it
Yeah,
on?
you go in and you can create the rubric. You can tell AI exactly how you want it to grade
Okay.
on whatever criteria. So if you want to put your 6 skills in there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I did. I put the 6 skills in there and I had it evaluate them on voice and using all of that stuff in their writing. And it said, well, I don't think that the sentence structure, you could do this, or your sentence
Mm-hmm.
variety could be your hook didn't do this. And it gave them just specific feedback on what they needed to fix. And they did that until they got the grade that they were happy with.
Wow. And one specific thing about that, does can it figure out the voice thing? Like, can it
Oh, yeah, you
again?
added the voice. I wanted to make sure
Excuse
it
me.
has,
Oh,
and
that's
if
great.
if the kids didn't feel like it graded them right, and they're like, but I did this, and maybe it just didn't pick it up for a certain reason, you can go back through and say, okay, but maybe it didn't pick it up because you put it in this order, and let's try
Mm,
to move it somewhere over
closer.
here.
Right.
Didn't put a exclamation mark at the end or a quotation around it, then that changes the whole thing for them. Then they put
Yeah.
that in, resubmit, and then they get a new score.
Wow. Okay.
Tinkering around sometimes will help with that.
That's awesome. Because that was the one thing I was like, well, I don't know if it would grade it the way that in my mind, but that's great. If you can put in there the thought
Yeah,
that,
you can always override and
yeah,
change.
right. And then since you only had like 47 minutes, how did you handle, did you do anything with small group trios or anything? Did they have
They
partner?
were hard to get in.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had to do them on Monday, which took away the effect, but it
Yeah.
was also easier to figure out our diamond writer with Class Kick. When you turned me on to Class Kick, um, I was like, okay, so this is great because I can see all of their work while they're working. Otherwise, it was very hard for me to figure out who the diamond writer was
Yes.
by the end of class.
Right, right. And they love that feedback right away.
Oh, and
They
and
know.
I there were a couple times where I did forget, and then we had like a snow day, or we ran out of time, and then we had snow days the next week, and it didn't happen. And they were like, "But you didn't give us the diamond writer list." They were not going to let me
They were
slide.
not. And these
No,
are
it was
eighth
not right.
graders. I love.
I literally followed everything you said to a T as much as I possibly could. The music, the ambiance, the lighting. Um,
Wow.
times I scoured your manual to make sure I was doing it right.
You nailed it. I'm like so happy and impressed. Did you do for the music? What did you do for music? Did you have someone choose it or did you just have like a soundtrack that you played?
Well, like if I figured out we were doing like something on like, I don't know, let's say like circus or fair theme, then I would turn on that kind of ambiance. When it was Halloween, we did like the spooky, scary ambiance.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
of course, you had your spooky, scary wheels that, and I think I asked you for them, like, do you have any of them for Halloween? And you sent me those. And so that kind of just, I tried to do thematically, like, let's
That's
do a
cool.
theme here. And then Christmas, we did different things that had to do with Christmas. And I put some Christmas music on.
Yes, yes, that's great. Because sometimes I've put in there to have this, if the students have headphones, you could give them a select playlist that matches what they're writing. But that makes so much sense for whole class. It might help kind of bring them all down to like, we're all listening to this one thing and they just kind of get on that same level of like focused energy. I love
And
that.
if they are on totally different topics, that crackling fire always seems to work pretty well.
Yes. I know I do that for myself sometimes. That's awesome. Did you find some? I know you mentioned a couple of them who turned into became like chapter book writer. Like they were going to write a whole.
Oh yeah. Still to the end of the week, one of the girls was like, I've added more onto my book. Have you checked it out? And I mean, I felt bad because I mean, my son's in soccer and in T-ball right now, and the end of the, school year is a little crazy. I'm like, I haven't. She's like, I added a plot twist. And so they're so excited to let me like read what's next. And yeah, I have a few very big inspiring writers that you made their year when you called them out at our meeting.
It's phenomenal. I'm so impressed. And that's why I put that there's that one thing in there we could do the genre writing because there's always at least one or two or three who are like, I want to write one story for the whole year, you know? And
Yeah.
like I want to capture that feeling. I don't want them to not be able to do that.
I felt like my reluctant writers mostly picked my dare cards
Mhm.
or did the rant and rave. Um,
Oh,
they
good.
loved ranting and raving about things that they didn't like. My kids do not like iReady. And so they're like, when I was giving them some brainstorming ideas, I'm like, you guys complain about iReady all the time. If you don't have anything to say, tell me all the reasons why you do not think iReady is good and why you do not like it. What has created this persona and this like
Yeah.
feeling of this is awful. So
Yeah. And they're like,
time to tell me.
that's awesome. I had one girl who got super stuck and she ended up writing a letter to the manager at Target because there was something that was missing that wasn't there when she went to go get it. And I'm like, oh, that's it. Tell them what you're feeling. She was on it. It was awesome. That's cool. So any like final advice for anyone who's starting this out new? Do you have any like
I know
hot?
I felt overwhelmed, and I told my other co-teachers, I'm like, I kind of felt overwhelmed with all the modules when I started this, and like I felt like I needed to take notes and write things down, but you have that covered. Like I shouldn't have spazzed out and like worried about the fact that I need to know that I need to have trios or how many minutes am I supposed to have for this and all those things. If I would have relaxed a little bit because at first I started taking notes on everything and I was trying to keep it organized because I was afraid of how I was going to remember that. And then you really have it all laid out and just watch it, go through it, figure it out. And then I went back module one. Okay, this is where I'm going to start. I'm going to rewatch this one and I'm going to go from there.
Oh,
So
that's
I
great.
felt like just believe in the process
Right.
because it really does work. It really does work. And I've been watching all your little updates. I think you said something about somebody turned these cards that you did that are the show don't the posters. Um,
Hmm.
I made these like signs for my front door, so they knew that that week they were working on these, and
Oh, well, that's a cool idea.
the
Oh,
street. And I these things I put these on my board. I know they're a little blurry,
it's okay.
but I had them on. I think I had a homebound student who I blurred the background, and I don't know
Right.
how to change it right the second, but
Right, right.
I had lots of posters and things, and I tried to do everything that you had suggested. And if I didn't get it one week, I knew, hey, I'll get it next week. And
Yeah,
it all came together, and the kids appreciated it, and they didn't know when I messed up. So,
totally. That's such a great mindset to have. And I love that idea of maybe just going through the training with like just listen, let's soak it up
yeah,
first and
yeah.
see where you land and then kind of go back strategically. I love that.